This is Late Night Politics on StarFM, taking an in-depth look at the Zimbabwean political scene.
It's a Monday and it's time for Late Night Politics on StarFM. My name is George Msumba. Tonight we continue to talk about voter registration. Have politicians provided the leadership to enable eligible voters to go and register to vote? Are people more concerned with looking for that dollar to bother going to register to vote? If time allows, we'll also look at the impact that the economy might have on the prospect of the political parties. In the studio, I have ZANU-PF Harare East MP, Comrade Terence Mukupe, and former MDC-T MP for Nyanga North, who is also the current Secretary General of the MDC-T, Comrade Douglas Mwonzora. Welcome to Late Night Politics.
Good evening.
Yes.
Good evening, Zimbabwe. Thank you for having us.
Now, this weekend in Bulawayo, there were fireworks in ZANU-PF with President Mugabe challenging his close ally, Vice President Emmerson Mnangagwa, to form his own party if two provinces, Masvingo and the Midlands, continue to defy the president. The First Lady earlier on had told the 9th Youth Interface Rally that the Women's League would reclaim their part or their seat in the presidium at the expense of Comrade Mnangagwa. Just to set the ball rolling, I know this is not part of our main discussion, but is this the end of Vice President Mnangagwa, Comrade Mukupe?
What crime has he committed? So why should it be the end? As far as I'm concerned, you've got a situation that President Mugabe is the first secretary of ZANU-PF, and he currently has the mandate to rule Zimbabwe, and we've got a one center of power. So as long as he's the person who's in the driving seat, it's up to him to choose who he wants to be his deputy and whom he wants to work with. If he drops Honorable Minister Mnangagwa, Vice President Mnangagwa, from being his vice president, why should it be the end? Shouldn't people wait for the Congress and see who will take over? Because eventually, I would want to believe President Mugabe has to hand over the baton to somebody. And that somebody who takes over power from him also will have the privilege of deciding who is going to be the vice president also of the country. So I don't see anything sinister or anything so special about the fact that the president said that he wants to drop VP Mnangagwa. It's within his mandate. He's got the power to do that. We've got a one center of power.
But as a member of the party, you are happy with the goings on in Bulawayo?
I don't think it's an issue of me being happy about the goings on. It comes down to the person that so some of us at the end of the day, even if we might not like it, even if we don't agree with some of the approaches and the issues of ridiculing each other in public and telling each other, you know, those are things that should be discussed behind closed doors. But I'll go back to my statement that at the end of the day, it's an issue of President Mugabe. He's the one center of power. He's the one in power. He does as he pleases as long as he's got the mandate. So his mandate runs until the next Congress. So we wait for the Congress.
Comrade Mwonzora, you are also watching with keen interest, I suppose, the goings on in ZANU-PF. Will it work to your favor if, for instance, Vice President Mnangagwa is removed as ZANU-PF's vice president?
We are playing our own game as the MDC. It does not depend on what happens in the other camp. We are preparing to hand ZANU-PF its heaviest defeat ever. So we are planning on our own. What they are doing is of no concern to us. But it does vindicate the MDC that Zimbabwe has a terrible death of leadership. Instead of running this economy, instead of dealing with poverty, instead of dealing with unemployment, they are busy fighting. And yesterday, the two things that the First Lady said that must get Zimbabwe worried. It is the justification of dynasty. That since Mr. Mnangagwa left Zimbabwe Chirumanzu to his wife, ipso facto, President Mugabe must leave the presidency to Mrs. Mugabe. That is very tragic. It betrays a very, very awkward way of thinking. with all the greatest of respect, everybody knows how unsuitable the First Lady is. But both Mnangagwa, the First Lady, and the President, mostly the President and Mr. Mnangagwa, they are partners in crime. When we are speaking about Matabeleland, they were together during Gukurahundi and so on. We see none of them being a savior of the people of Zimbabwe. And therefore, we treat both of them as the opponent that must be defeated by the people of Zimbabwe next year. Fortunately, the MDC wants to take over power through peaceful, democratic, and constitutional means. We want to change the lives of our people. We want to improve this economy. We want our people to get their money in the banks. We want service delivery. We want jobs. We want Zimbabwe to be the economic and commercial hub of the African continent. And therefore, our leadership will be characterized by absence of bickering. We will be too busy reconstructing this country that has been destroyed by these people. So what is coming out is a manifestation of what has always been there. Very, very poor leadership.
I know we were going to talk about the economy, Comrade Mukupe, but he has put a heavy indictment on ZANU-PF that all that is happening has nothing to do with the lives of the people. The economy, ZANU-PF is not bothered. It is about power retention.
I don't think it's true to say that. If you look at, I think, the policies that have been there in terms of, the command agriculture, all these command policies, something is being done. I think if I were to speak about like the tenure that Honorable Chamisa had as a Minister of Finance, he was doing his best. You could see the re-engagement with the IMFs, the World Banks. He even spoke about making sure that even the white farmers who were displaced on their farms, they had to be, we had to come up with a mechanism of compensating them and making sure that we pay them their dues for the improvements on the land. You also have, I think, you see all the good things, the good story that we've had in mining. The numbers are good. You've seen the good story that we have in agriculture. So I don't think it's an issue of people are neglecting the economy. But I think what's pretty clear is that we as a country are at an inflection point. And I think the inflection point that we are at, yes, in as much as we would want our leader to live forever, and would want our president, I think what we've got is that according to the Constitution, 2018 will be the last 5-year term that President Mugabe can be president. So you can't run away from the succession issue, because the minute he becomes president for the last term, we have to address the succession issue. So that's why you find then that almost everyone now is focusing on the issues pertaining to succession. And I think, to some extent, I think more needs to be done in terms of like what's happening with our economy. I think today I even posted on my Facebook page, there's issues concerning Harare Hospital where babies are dying because we don't have incubators. And I think in this time and age, we shouldn't be having premature babies dying just because we don't have an incubator. You've got the cases of typhoid that are breaking out throughout the country, and more so here in Harare. In this day and age, we shouldn't be having typhoid. And I think it's something that you can't really say that I'll blame the government, because I think also the local authorities which are run by the MDC are also equally to blame, because they haven't put the necessary infrastructure in terms of the water and the sewer systems. So I think I don't want to be here to be pointing fingers and saying that it's that particular group or that particular group that's not doing what they're supposed to be doing. But I think it's a collective responsibility that we should be having as Zimbabweans, and saying that ask yourself, what is it that you're doing to make sure that we have a better Zimbabwe, and we shouldn't be having things that were happening in the 80s. And I'll touch on the issue here, Gukurahundi, that he is talking about. My grandfather, who I grew up ndichengetwa na my grandfather comes from KwaZimba, and guess what, he was Zapu. He went to the same school now, Mugabe, but he was not ZANU-PF, he was Zapu. So you find when you're talking about Gukurahundi and everything, yes, our family was also directly affected, but with the Unity Accord when Zapu, we became ZANU-PF. So you saw this thing, you could point as if Wanarum ZANU-PF are the ones or who've got one blame over Gukurahundi. I think it's really unfair, because if you're going to paint me with that brush,
Mind you, I was 4 years old when Gukra Hundi, that whole Gukra Hundi paikaitika. So you can't then say everyone at ZANU PF is should carry the cross here, things that happened during Gukra Hundi period. And I think let's also ask ourselves, paikaitika Gukra Hundi, what were the factors around that? So I think that's an issue for Vampoko. Is the minister responsible for peace and reconciliation to address this issue of Gukraundi? I mean, for God's sake, how old are we as a country? Makore Mangani, how many decades ago? We should have a commission. Vampoko should start working and Voita deal with that Zopera, that issue, and we move forward. We can't keep on Chingoramba Zokera Kumashiro. We need to take this country forward.
Yeah, but the issue which Comrade Mwonzora raised with the economy, do you think that it will be the make and break of ZANU PF deliverables to say in 2018 the electorate will ask, what have you done? The economy, they will come to your doorstep and say, these are the issues that the people of Zimbabwe have been crying for, but nothing has been delivered.
Sadly, when you analyze Zimbabwean politics, the economy is never a factor. And I'll say why it's never a factor. When we had our worst period and our darkest period, during the period of hyperinflation, you can't compare Zaitika time hyperinflation with what's happening now. That was our darkest period,
2008.
That was our darkest period in as far as the economy is concerned. But guess what? The people voted overwhelmingly for ZANU PF. So you have to then ask yourself, what are the factors that are important for the electorate are not swinging at the vote for the people to continue voting for us?
I'll put it to Comrade Mwonzora. Comrade Mukupe is saying that the economy doesn't factor in elections. Why is the electorate not moved by what happens economically? Have you got a message which goes beyond? Can you understand the dynamics of why people vote the way they vote?
The people actually respond to the economy. In 2008, they responded to the economy. The economy was in a sorry state, and they punished ZANU PF for that. It is not true that ZANU PF won overwhelmingly in 2008. They lost. President Mugabe lost to President Tsvangirai, and they had to resort to brute force. Over 300 people were murdered in cold blood in order to retain the president in power. So the economy is a factor, but it is important on what we want to do. What we are telling the electorate that we want to do. We want to change the fortunes of this country. Everybody must be employed. We must increase the industry. We must attract investment. We must be losing investment to countries like Mozambique, Zambia, Malawi, Botswana, where we are losing because they are more stable, they are more predictable. We mustn't continue to create dead capital in land. Right now, they've taken land, but it is dead capital. It is not that land that you can take to the bank and use it as collateral in order to get credit from the banks. It is dead capital. So what we want to do as the MDC, we will not bother ourselves with the past. We will deal with the future. The Zimbabwean people deserve better. They deserve a more sensitive government. They deserve a government that worries about their welfare. We are worried about the welfare of the people of Zimbabwe. We are not worried about families. What you saw in Bulawayo yesterday was a fight between two families. Mr. Mugabe versus Mr. Mnangagwa, Mrs. Mugabe versus Mrs. Mnangagwa, and Mr. Mnangagwa. So it's a fight of the families. It is a fight for retention of the power for the sake of it. We will be more worried with improving the lot of our people, making sure that our educated graduates get their jobs, making sure that we re-attract talent which is scattered all over the world. We have very, very top-notch professionals who are not in Zimbabwe right now because they are economic refugees. We want to change that. We want a Zimbabwe that is free. We want a Zimbabwe where people can support what they want and whoever they want without any reprisals. So for my friend here, Honorable Mukupe, to say that the economy is a success, I don't know which country he is living in. I don't know whether he knows that people go to the banks and they don't get their money. I don't know whether he knows that the difference between 2008 and now is that in 2008 we did not have the commodities and there was plenty of money floating around. In 2013 the commodities are there, but there is simply no money to buy it. People are suffering in this country, and this suffering of our people calls for seriousness of our leaders. Whoever is leading that time, they need to be serious. They need to be telling us what they are going to do about the economy, about the social life of our people. Our people are wallowing in poverty and misery.
Okay, Comrade Mukupe, before we move on to the next step.
I'm not here to be politicking. I'm here because I'm a patriotic Zimbabwean. And I think part of the reason why you come on radio is to speak to Zimbabwe and to find a way of taking the country forward. I think it's really unfair for Honorable Mwonzora for him to say that I said that the economy is flourishing. I did say that. I pointed out the success stories that we've got. I don't think like you can argue the fact that what has happened with agriculture has been a success story. To talk about what has happened with tobacco, talk about what has happened with the grains. We've had a success story. Talk about what's happening in the mining sector. That's a success story. So then to characterize that, like I've pointed out success stories, I'm saying that the economy is in a perfect state. I didn't say that. There are challenges in this economy. And I don't want to get into the discussion about why we're having the challenges, because I think that point has been belabored. Panapan Katanga Utarat, one of the reasons it's actually because of sanctions. He's going to say Matanga on his ZANU-PF. And I don't want to get into that talk. But what I want to talk about is what are the solutions? Because sometimes, you know what, we waste time not proffering solutions. It's idle talk. It's a waste of my time to be talking about problems. Everyone knows the problems that we're having in this country. But let's talk about what are the solutions that we can be able to come up with and proffer to take our country forward. That's what interests me.
But Honorable Mukupe, the challenge that you face, maybe that is what is also talking about, is that the focus, and we also discussed it at the beginning, the focus really in ZANU-PF at the moment, the message that is coming out, it has to do with succession. We don't hear about these solutions that you are talking about.
And I'll tell you that wasn't MDC going through the same thing?
Yes, I'm also going to come to them.
I'm saying, you know what, let's not talk as if ZANU-PF as MDC, right? Firstly, they will start talking about the issue that we've got one center of power. Don't they have one center of power in the MDC? Tsvangirai wakes up and decides to appoint a vice president. And those not to Harvest House. And ZANU-PF it's unheard of. Kuti President Mugabe wanomuka vari ku Blue House, vari ku Blue Roof, and just announces kuti vamnanga goabva ndakutoisa Mai Mugabe vakuita vice president. It's unheard of. But you find kuti he knows kuti there's a set place and set venues and there's wider consultations. That's the first thing. And then the issue kuti there's succession issues. I witnessed it with my own eyes. My Thokozani Kupe is the leader of the House of MDC. 2 weeks ago, she came to Parliament, right? And as the leader of the House, but the first seat in Parliament, Nelson Chamisa akaramba kwasumukira. Akawaudza imimi takakudzingai. You know what? I'm not going to stand up for you. Do you know what Thokozani Kupe did? She walked out of Parliament because Nelson Chamisa akaramba kwasumukira. But you know what? Nyaya MDC, for the most part, at the present moment, hadzina kidzi vanhu. It's not newsworthy. What's newsworthy is what's happening with ZANU-PF. And why is it because ZANU-PF is very newsworthy? Because they're the ones who are in power. So people you find kuti zvinoitika kuZANU-PF zvinobva zvaitwa get amplified and make it seem as if it's something that's just unique to what? To ZANU-PF. Right now, everyone can see and can tell Tsvangirai is not feeling well. I don't wish him well. I don't wish ill of him.
But like you find good, like if you start talking about succession issue, I can bet you could honestly what Zingo now Tsvangirai mangwana chaiwo.
Aiwa tichavapa mukana.
Well,
Musati
let me
mapinda
talk
regai
about it.
ndingo reminder vateereri vedu. Chirongwa chinonzi Late Night Politics, nhasi manheru anaya tina Comrade Terence Mukupe ndiHarare East MP. Uyezve tina vaimbova MP kunyanga North. Ndofunga vari kuda kudzokera futi. Douglas Mwonzora, the MDC-T Secretary General. We are now discussing the issue. I know Eddie Cross got a lot of flack for it, and he was called a Roddy because he raised the issue that perhaps it is time for the MDC-T to discuss the issue of MDC-T leader, President Morgan Tsvangirai's health, because he is undergoing treatment for colon cancer. And he said, look, maybe the family needs to have more time with him, more time for recuperation rather than the rigorous campaign trail. And he's also raised the issue that there could be underlying, we don't know yet, but it was manifested in the House of Assembly, in the National Assembly, the tiff, the supposed tiff between Honorable Kupe, who is the vice president, and another vice president, Honorable Chamisa.
Oh, well, let me start first by talking about succession within the MDC, because it is not taboo. We discuss this. It is provided for in our constitution. If our leader is unable to continue, the MDC will go to Congress to elect a new leader. We do not appoint the head of the party. The head of the party is elected at a special Congress should need arise. So if our leader were unable to continue for one reason or another, we simply go to Congress. And everybody is free to contest that position. So it is not taboo within the MDC. Further, it is not taboo to talk about our leader's health. Our leader came out open that he had a condition, and he did not make it a secret. And we admire him for that. But what is important is that President Tsvangirai is not incapacitated. He has an illness, yes, but he is not incapacitated. He is able to continue. And we are quite happy to announce that we will be filling him as our presidential candidate because his condition is not a disabling one.
He has not been seen in public for the past 2 months, by the way.
He is not the only president who has been ill and continued to run the affairs of the country. President Mandela had disclosed that he had prostate cancer, but he went on and served his term. President Yeltsin and so many presidents. So the fact is that President Tsvangirai is not feeling well, and he did disclose that to the people of Zimbabwe. He put the people of Zimbabwe in their confidence. Now, I'm not going to be laboring much about very trivial things like what my colleague here is talking about, the disagreement between two vice presidents over one issue or another. That's not important. What is important is how does the MDC decide on leadership? And the MDC decides on the next leader if need arises by going to the Congress. So nobody is assured.
Two issues here. There was Honorable Eddie Cross when he raised the issue, and I know the president's spokesperson Luke Tamborinyoka was not happy with that. Have you what is the correct situation with regards to Honorable Cross's statement that perhaps it is time for President Tsvangirai to rest?
First, as a party, we cannot punish a person for an opinion. And therefore, you saw that I, as the Secretary General, should have written to Honorable Cross, should if I had thought that he had committed an offense. And the fact that he is not facing any disciplinary action at all, we took it as his opinion. And upon a reflection of what he wrote, this was a concerned person. Unfortunately for him, he had not seen President Tsvangirai for quite some time when he did his opinion, and he is not going to be punished. If there is anybody who called him names, we do not condone that. In the MDC, we do not condone that, and that is the person that actually has to be disciplined because we do not encourage hate speech. Eddie Cross was quite concerned. He thought that the president's condition called for the president having more time with his family. We have since seen the president. We have also had medical opinion about, and that is what we follow. But importantly also, we will respect his wish as the person who is living with that condition and so on. But as far as I can see and as far as I know, he is all right. I have had opportunity of discussing with him. I have had opportunity of seeing using my eye gauge. And for myself, there is a person who is getting better and better. And we want to pray for him. We are praying for him as the MDC family that he must come back and continue with the struggle. The people of Zimbabwe are waiting for him. But should our president be unable to continue, we have mechanisms of choosing the next leader, and that is through a special Congress. Right now, there is no need for that because our president is recovering, and we are so happy that he has been honest with the people of Zimbabwe.
But the public appearances are now limited. I don't even think he's talked about, 2 months?
No one has seen him in 2 months.
I thought there was a video going viral about President Tsvangirai
arriving at the airport.
And going to going to South Africa at the airport again. Now, if that is not public appearance, then what is? President Tsvangirai, when he came from South Africa, he actually chaired a meeting of the alliance and issued a statement after that. But who doesn't know that he wasn't feeling well? Who doesn't know that he went for a medical procedure in South Africa? We disclosed that because we have nothing to hide. If our president were incapacitated, we would tell our people, we would tell the people of Zimbabwe, because there is no need to hide that. But the fact is, our president is recovering well, and he will have recovered by the time that we start the serious business of campaigning.
We will, because we are also discussing the issue of leadership. We will come back to that. Do you have any response to that before we move on to the next point? Because we are also discussing the issue of voter registration, and that is very important. The numbers are not so good. I know that ZEC has released that it's about 1.8 million now, and the target is 7 million. And one of the reasons could be that we haven't seen any leadership in terms of pushing the process of BVR registration. We have seen ZANU-PF, national president, he did it as a national leader. He vakaparura chirongwa che BVR registration. But on the side of the alliance or on the side of the opposition, I know that in Bulawayo there were the prominent politicians were there vachiparura chirongwa. But as far as, because as the possible voter, you want to see your leaders being at the forefront. When are we going to see that? Honorable Mukupe, have you led the process in your constituency?
We actually did an analysis. Firstly, when you look at the numbers in terms of the country, you'll actually see that within the ZANU-PF strongholds, the turnout has actually been pleasing. When you go to the MDC-held territories, the turnout hasn't been really pleasing. And I think it was even the same thing when we did our analysis within Harare East, my constituency. The pockets where we know that like they are strong in terms of ZANU-PF supporters, people have been going out to register. But the pockets where there's been, where we know that like predominantly the MDC people seem to congregate, the turnout hasn't been great. And like when we're deliberating, why are we having such a thing? And, when we're carrying out our SNAP surveys, you find that like what they were actually pointing out is that like there's still so much confusion within the MDC in terms of like where things are heading. There's a leadership vacuum. You're not sure whether they are going to go ahead and declare that Nelson Chamisa is going to be their president. Right, he's the one who's going to stand as their candidate or not. Because and then you also have the issue that, like, even in terms of the candidates that are coming in to stand for the MDC, there's a lot of imposition that's going on. Because, like, there's been an announcement that there's not going to be any primaries per se. They're going to have affirmation, and we know kuti affirmation is kuti unoisa vanhu muhoro. Handitika waisa vanhu muhoro, munhu anotyiwa nevanhu anobva angosumuka kuti tese tiri kuda biti, vanobva vati vanobva vatanga kuombera, zvatopera, zvotonzi matoda.
You understand? It's not democratic at all. If you are going to tell me that affirmation is democratic, passing away. So you find good like what's happening is that like until the MDC vagadzirisa the confusion within the alliance and whatever, and people are really clear in terms of say, then you're going to have people coming out in those areas. And like I was with Honorable Chamisa, where we had some panel test like about 2 days ago. And he was telling me like, oh, Tapeza the panel here to rush because he's chairing meeting airlines. He's chairing my meetings. They say Airlines. It's Honorable Chamisa who's chairing the meetings, right? Why is it's not Thokozani Kupe? And people are looking at this and are saying, good, like Thokozani is supposed to be the most senior person, and she's not chairing these meetings. And that's why you find good, like that whole tribalistic element coming out and rearing its head. But like what we're saying is that like we need to move forward and let's give the electorate clarity in terms of Utakamira Papi. If we give the electorate clarity, saying people will come out in their numbers and register to vote.
I don't understand why ZANU-PF is so interested in Honorable Chamisa and putting his name as if we have already chosen the next leader. No, Honorable Chamisa is one of the 3 vice presidents, and when it comes the time, when it becomes necessary for us to choose a next leader, there is the process. There is a process of a special Congress. Right now, it has not arisen. That need has not arisen. It is not true that Honorable Chamisa has been chairing the alliance meetings. That's
so he was lying to me.
In fact, the 2-3 meetings that were held in the absence of President Tsvangirai were all of them chaired by Welshman Ngube.
On Friday?
Yes, on
the
Friday.
One on Friday.
Yes, on Friday I was the one.
The beauty about it is that Honorable Chamisa made the statement at the program I record were live. If you actually go on his page on Facebook, you'll actually see him making the statement. And his statement was this: I am the de facto vice president of the country. Is the shadow vice president. He said he's the de facto vice president. And like, go on his Twitter page right now.
Of course, there's nothing wrong with him saying that.
And he said,
there's nothing wrong with him saying that.
And this is on public record. It's there. Go on Twitter. Go on his Twitter page. Go on his Facebook page.
No.
So for me, truku square chitendereka. Taura vanhu veZimbabwe chokwadi. And this is the clarity that the people within the MDC are crying for. Kuti taurai chokwadi, tive clarity. Kuti ndiani ari kuita sei, ari kuita take over. And Chamisa has declared he is the one ari kutonga at the present moment with MDC.
Vice President Chamisa has done no such thing. He is one of the vice presidents, and right now our acting president is Thokozani Kupe. By virtue of seniority, by virtue of her being an elected vice president, she is the acting president. But our vice presidents do have certain duties that they do individually, and Honorable Chamisa has certain responsibilities that he does.
When was the last time Thokozani was per Harvest House?
No, we're not in a bar.
I just want to know when was the last time she was per Harvest House?
Let me protect
She's never been per Harvest House. So she's a vice president in name.
Let me protect Honorable Mwonzora for now.
I end up Harvest House.
Okay, point taken. We are going to move on.
Okay.
Just wind up the issue of he's talking about leadership vacuum, but we are saying
it is fair that we advise people the truth. There are 3 vice presidents in the MDC. Right now, the president is out of the country. We have an acting president, Dr. Kupe. We have the 2 vice presidents, Honorable Chamisa and Honorable Mzuri, with certain functions. It is not true that Vice President Chamisa is presiding over meetings of the alliance. That's not true. I thought I should make it clear. Now, coming to issues of choice of candidates, we did not say that MDC is not going for primaries. Again, this is misinformation by ZANU-PF, hoping that they will get us weaker. What we said was, we will try first to achieve consensus. If there is no consensus about a candidate, then we go.
No affirmation.
Then we go. If there is no consensus, if there is no agreement,
apa ndoda kuti mutaure nechedu chirudzi kuti
Right.
so-
Chii chinonzi
consensus.
Chii chinonzi consensus.
chiri kuti isu tinoenda kuprimary chete kana pachinge paita vanhu vaviri more than one ari kuda chinzvimbo ichocho tinoenda kuprimary, asi tinotanga nekudai, tinotanga nekuti vanhu vazame kuwirirana on the candidate tisati taita zvekuvhota. Kana pasina kuwirirana ikoko, pacha vanhu vaviri varamba vachiti ini ndinoda, tinoenda kumaprimaries edu.
vanenge tinoda kupinda ndo vanochuzana here pachavo kana kuti mune voters roll yenyu yekuma-constituents?
Chekutanga ndechekuti munhu anoda kuita MP anotitaurira kuti ndiri kuda kuita MP. Kune process yekuaplya. Saka munoaplya kwaSecretary General kuti ini ndoda kuita MP weNyanga North, Nyanga South and so on. Tounganidza ma-CV evanhu vese vari kuda vaya. Kana paita vanhu vanodarika umwe voita vaviri, tinogarisa vanhu ivavo pasi kuti wiriranai.
Hamuendi kuvanhu?
Tisati taenda kuvanhu tinoti wiriranai. Kana vasina kuwirirana tinobva taendesa kuvanhu manje tichiti kwaita mabhiza maviri, imi wanhu chichuzai. Saka it's consensus first and then the primary. So primaries are coming and we
kwemi mukaendesa munhu vabvumirana, all right, tu vaenda ikoko, mukaendesa munhu asingadiwi uku kuvanhu, havasi vanhu
Sorry, George, can I
vanhu kana hazviperere ipapo George, hazviperere ipapo. Ngatiti vanhu havasi kufara necandidate. Vanhu ivavo vanotongotaura the most important thing is the support. It is the membership. It is the membership who decide. And paunoita application yako haungoiti application chete, unoita application inosupportwa by certain people within the structures. So ukanyora tsamba yako iwewe inofana kutosupportwa nemamwe ma-party members a certain number inofana kuendorsa that candidature. Then toita process yekuti muri two handiti hamukwanisi here kuwirirana. Vakasawirirana toendesa kuvanhu, vanhu vonochuza. Kana kuti vakawirirana, then the choice yavo ikaita isingadiwi nevanhu, what the people want carries the day, and it is very democratic. And it reduces a lot of tensions.
Okay, we'll come back to that. I don't know in brief kana mune zvamusina kunzwisisa apa.
Pavari kusitaura ndepekuti panonzi pakuwirirana paipe paunonzi uyai muiswa murumu pakuwirirana. Vamonzora vanenge vakagara apa naChamisa vachitaura kuti iwewe hatisi kuda kuti umire, chiburukira ava vakuru vaite sei vamire. Saka vakuru ndo kuenda kuvanhu kunoita sei kunomira. Iko zvino can you even imagine kuti kuHarare East mayouth MDC vari kutouya vachitotaura kuti isusuka mudhara takutoya kwenyu because kunoku takaudzwa mira intaurika, vari kutaura kuti hanzi kunoku takatoudzwa kunzi vabiti ndo candidate, hakuna umwe munhu achabvumidzwa kuita sei kuzomira kunoku. Already vatodecida kuti there's only going to be one candidate, but hakuna munhu atanyora tsamba. So you can tell kuti system yavo it's already rigged. It's rigged in favor kuti vaite sei nyaya yanachimbotaura yekuti president wavo watoda taite president wemusangano, vatotanga kutoriga machinery yacho kuti vamike sure kuti president wavo zvavari kushanda nazvo kuti zviite zvibude zviitike.
Okay, let's move on. In the studio I have, it's Late Night Politics. I have in the studio Harare East MP Comrade Terence Mukupe, as well as former MDC-T MP for Nyanga North. Is currently the Secretary General of the MDC-T, Comrade Douglas Mwonzora. The issue of MPs not being contested, is it true in the MDC-T?
That's not true. Again, I don't know where people
are you going to hold primary elections?
Yes, we are. What is going to happen? And let me clarify this. Because we were not so clear as to possibly when the election could be held. because if we follow the constitution, the election is between the 22nd of July and the 22nd of August, because it says 5 years, they should be held in the last month of the presidential term. And the presidential term is defined as 5 years from the time of the swearing of the president. President Mugabe was sworn on the 22nd of August. Now, everything remaining constant, that will be the month of the election. But 3 things can happen. Number 1, if the parliament dissolves itself, you can have an early election. Number 2, if the parliament refuses to pass a budget, you can have an early election. And it is not far-fetched to say that they may refuse to pass a budget because they are fighting about their money and so on. And it may be that they will not cooperate with central government. And then Parliament can opt to dissolve itself. It's a rare thing, but it is a possibility. So now, then we said that we called for the CVs in all what we call orphaned constituencies. These are constituencies where we do not have MPs. We did not want to open a contest of the MPs yet because they are still serving, and we did not want them to be disturbed. We did not want the councillors to be disturbed as of now. We will open up those constituencies once we are sure about the dates of the nomination and so on. So we are not going to protect anyone. We are aware that sometimes you have an MP who becomes very unpopular with the people. So it is the people of the MDC who are going to decide. But this process has not yet started. And I don't understand the excitement that ZANU-PF has. We are going to retake Harare East from Honorable Mukupe. This is his last supper, and he knows it. And I do sympathize with him. He's a good man. But definitely, we are going to feel somebody better, and who is going to win. We are going to take our constituents back.
Yeah, I'll allow you to respond to that, but I just want to finish on that issue with Comrade Mwonzora. The alliance talks, are they through? Because one of the issues, if I want to campaign in Harare East, for instance, but because of the alliance talks, I know that you will parcel out certain areas to say, okay, PDP, you campaign, you will stand in those areas. Why are you not concluding the alliance talks so that people know which areas that they will be concentrating in?
There are 2 issues in the alliance talks, one concluded and one outstanding. The one concluded is that we must have an alliance, the alliance agreement. It was concluded and signed. The second rung of that is the distribution of the seats. That is still outstanding. And it depends on quite a number of factors. It depends on how strong a political party is in a particular area. So you before you agree on parceling out seats, first of all, you have to look at what is the strength of the political party. We do not distribute for the sake of it. That is why it is outstanding. Right now, a lot of research is being done. We as the MDC are very, very interested in the numerical strength of our allies. Where our allies are not strong, we will look them in the eye and tell them that in this particular constituency, it is the MDC that is better, and we can always revise that. So we have not yet agreed and concluded on the seats. Of course, you can get excitable people saying, well, Harare East, I'm going to face Tendai BT, or I'm going to face this one. It is their wish. We are going to put a candidate there, and that candidate is going to win. Maybe it is me, and be careful.
Okay, come in, Honorable Mukupe.
You know what? Because I sit on the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Finance, you get to interact with the opposition politicians. And when things were their peak, Paita, the fights, and Kupe, I went around the country and I sat down na Bebe and Prince Sibanda. And at one of the occasions, the two almost came to blows, because what had happened was that Wana Bebe and Maitokozani Kupe had gone to Prince Sibanda's constituency and talking about the issue alliance. And the truth of the matter is the reason why they were having issues in Yayo parceling out of the seats, because what's happening is that the Shona crowd iri kuHarare have set as Chiboys Club and have decided kuti tipanane zvigaro. Tendai Biti, do you know he tried to do a star rally in Chitungwiza 2 weeks ago and there was less than 30 people vakauya for the star rally. Tendai Biti as PDP, they tried to do a rally in Harare East and they had less than 50 people. So you can't sit here and tell me like Muchapasela on the basis of how popular they are. The reason why all these guys wanabiti have swallowed their pride and come back kunasave, it's because wao not kunzo kurukutonora and they've become nothing. The one rally that PDP has done transform Zimbabwe. Jacob Mgaruvumi. You think with Jacob Mgaruvumi akashedzera rally apanoita vanhu kana 100? You know, he is not going to have any people. All those people, if anything, Chiripo, what's clear is MDC is broke. MDC did not have any money. Their backers actually told them that, like, if you guys do not unite and become one thing, at Swisamari. So they need money. They need funding. Jacob Mgaruvumi. You can tell Kuti Ngaruvumi is well funded. Kwese Kwano and you see gives things. You can tell Kuti BT is well funded because Kwese Kwano ngachenda ngana mari. But like you could tell Kuti MDC-T is broke. If anything, you know my MDC MPs will come to you and say because there's always the assumption on my MPs ZANU-PF telemari. But you find good MDC MPs saying Kuti sha Zunzwakaoma nditengiro sadza. You understand? Tichita move around the country. So but like what all I'm pointing out, this was a marriage of convenience on the motivation kuna survey could take on these guys back on board was could he did not want the nuisance in space operator. And the reason why Ngaruvumi are coming is good they've seen they've got no relevance. So they need relevance and it's a safer bet for them because constituency and they're just going to take over voting MDC. Not that they're going to bring any new people. What new people are they going to bring? But like if you talk of Maimjuru, you can see kuti kwavari kuenda Maimjuru vari kutomboitawo tuvanhu tunoita sei tunouya, but it's not sufficient masses ekuti you can for us as ZANU-PF tingashaya hope. If you're talking of an alliance yekuti you say kuti like dhuze patomboitika something, it's Maimjuru na Save. Not these people. These people are zeros. They're useless people. Hapana chiripo, havana kana vanhu. As names Jacob Mafume, auntie, who was standing last time akatry kustenda ku Harare South under the MDC banner akajikiwa very serious. And as according to the alliance, guess what? Vanotaurisa kwaari Mbawa. He is going to stand ku Mount Pleasant as a councillor. Ndoko atozopuwawo na kwatozopuwa something ne one of your anonzani vanogara vakapfeka heta weku MDC. Who's one of their senior members and who's campaign manager wa Vice President Chamisa.
Jameson Timber.
Yes, Jameson Timber. But Jameson Timber is actually given, and mark my words, I'm being a prophet, right? Mafume is going to stand as a councillor ku Mount Pleasant, and Argu is standing as a councillor on the backing yekuti ndiye achazoneta deputy mayor wa Harare. That's the plan. Because vanhu vari kungopuwa zvigaro kuti vashaye nyadzi. But like you find good right now, Vatimba all his time spending it to make sure kuti Chamisa ita president of MDC.
You want to respond to the ZANU-PF narrative on what's happening. But before, I also want you to respond to this question. The chiefs, we have seen the chiefs pledging allegiance to ZANU-PF, and they'll probably get their vehicles. We have seen ZANU-PF on Saturday at the interface, President Mugabe saying we are going to give the youth vehicles. For you in the rural areas, how is the registration and how do you see this panning out?
Yeah, first of all, Chief Charumbira must be regretting what he said because he clearly did something which was very unconstitutional. In terms of Chapter 15 of the Constitution, the chiefs, the traditional leaders, must not meddle in the political affairs of our country. I wish to advise the people of Zimbabwe that I have actually placed an appointment to see Chief Charumbira himself and his committee, and we hope that they are going to grant us that audience. The idea is to correct each other, to discuss what the role of the chiefs is going to be in the next election. Are we going to throw the constitution through the window or what? But what Chief Charumbira did is typical of somebody who has his own preference. He can't be speaking of all the chiefs, definitely. But coming to registration, voter registration has been made particularly difficult by ZEC in MDC strongholds. The insistence on proof of residence, they've insisted that there must be proof of residence, and this affects the youth, it affects the homeless, it affects those people who do not have their own properties. This proof of residence is in form of the popular one is the affidavit, and there simply are not enough commissioners of oaths. This has resulted in illegal practices where people pre-sign an affidavit. We saw the ZANU-PF MP for Mavugu trying to do that. I don't know whether my friend Mukupe did the same as well, but we haven't heard from him. From his
I know Mashakada has got a docket that has been opened on that. He was caught with 2,000 pre-signed affidavits. So ngatitaure zvinhu zviri zvaato kumapurisa zvimwe zvese it's speculation.
Yeah. Of course, it will be an MDC MP only who gets arrested. Yeah. Selective application of the law.
So I just wanted you to say that when you mention ZANU-PF, when you are to a court case.
We are not aware of that. We are not aware of that. We are not aware of
it was in the press.
We are not aware of any offense that Honorable Mashakada had committed. But the proof of residence requirement is an unnecessary bottleneck.
With that, I agree with you.
And we actually said together with ZANU-PF,
we agree.
The rational element within ZANU-PF, we agreed that we should do the letters. People must write themselves the letters confirming where they stay. And in terms of the Electoral Act, it is an offense to give false facts to a ZEC official. And it doesn't matter whether it is in affidavit or in a plain letter. So we said that let's have a plain letter by the applicant. But there is also another problem, the aliens, the so-called aliens. These are people who are born in Zimbabwe. And our argument as the MDC is that if they simply take their ID, inscribed alien, and a birth certificate, which proves where they were born, they must be able to register. And we made that argument before ZEC. Mrs. Makaraus agreed with me when I made that argument. And she then said, you have to go to court. So we are going to do what is called a stated case. And Honorable Mangwana agreed that ZANU-PF and MDC will be applicants in that thing. But the third problem is the illegal practice by ZANU-PF of recording serial numbers and intimidating people. So we have again brought this to ZEC, and ZEC has said that that practice is illegal because you are violating privacy. This our electoral system is premised on the centrality of confidentiality in the electoral process. When we voted in Parliament in 2008 for our speaker, we were showing each other, the MDC MPs were showing each other our ballots. The Supreme Court came in and made a decision that we were wrong, and it went on to nullify that election because electoral materials are by themselves confidential. So they are recording serial numbers of people. For what end, we do not know. But what it is serving to do, is that it is intimidating our people.
Comrade Mukupe, why are you collecting my serial numbers, Marie? Why are you collecting my serial numbers?
The way you put it, is making my day. Isutine Masero, you know, ZANU-PF is like the starting point here. ZANU-PF is that everyone has to be a cell member if you're a member of ZANU-PF. So with our new cell cards, for you to be in our cells, you basically have to show that you're a registered voter. It's as simple as that. So there's nothing illegal about you coming to ZANU-PF voluntarily and saying that you want to become a member of ZANU-PF. And for you to become a member of ZANU-PF, unovunzwa your name, your date of birth, your ID number, your address, your ZANU-PF membership number that you'll be given, your voter registration number, and your phone number. It's you who has decided. So upon a violation, because it's by choice. Where there's violation is if you are then forced and intimidated to join ZANU-PF.
ina ndinambona
Yes.
mu 90 minutes wajoina ZANU-PF ini.
Yes. Let me advise my friend what exactly is happening. What is happening is that ZANU-PF people are recording everyone's serial number. They do not record from ZANU-PF people only. So in some stations they have actually set a substation next to a ZEC registration station. And this practice,
Like where?
this practice, like in Chitongwiza, like in Harare East, and in Mavuku, almost in every place. But what is important, George, is that ZEC has declared it illegal, and ZANU-PF must desist from doing illegal things. People are being forced to disclose their serial numbers, and this is illegal. And I need to advise the people of Zimbabwe that I have actually completed a court application to deal with that issue, and the court is going to have to decide. We do not want an election that is predicated on intimidation and violence, and we have seen ZANU-PF engaging in violence, beating up people in Chitungwiza, destroying houses, homes, and so on. It is totally acceptable. And we want to appeal to the rational element within ZANU-PF to understand that the people of Zimbabwe have the freedom to choose. They have the freedom to choose their leaders. And there is no need to intimidate and harass anyone. And this practice must come to an end. And hopefully the courts are going to bring it to an end this week.
Comrade Mukupe, a lot of accusations your way, intimidation and so forth. But one of the issues that has been raised in other forums was that you can win an election, but the hearts of the people. Is it one of the reasons? If I want to buy into your vision, I must do it willingly. The intimidation part of it, what should I retain power at all costs?
Go throughout the whole of Africa. That's the song of all the opposition parties. Before they even go to election, they start crying with violence, intimidation, what. It's so that they want to get the pity of the people. They get their votes through pity. Not kuti they've offered the people anything. This is what we want to do for the people. But like you find, like 99% of the time, Mwonzora from the time that he came in from Patatanga up to now, all they ever do is just complain. So you find good people are not stupid. People want people who come with my solutions. And as if you ask me kuti save power kuti vakapinda mupower chii chaanoda kuita, you be hapana kana munhu anatomboziva kuti chii chaanoda kuita. You understand? But ukabvunza kuti pamugabe chii chaanoda kuita, vanhu vanotanga kutaura kuti pamugabe wakataura zve2 million jobs. Zvinogona kunge zvisina kunyatsobuda, but you know what he was trying to do. That's the difference between us vari kutonga neavo vanongoramba vachichema vari kunze vasingatongi.
We have the first 100-day plan all in place.
I'm hearing it for the first time.
You are hearing for the first time. Yeah, because you were not a principal candidate in 2013, and therefore you may not have heard it. But
have you heard about it, George?
They wanted, yes. Okay. I think Honorable Mashakar, he got a bit of flake on his figures when he talked about what was the 50 billion in 10 years.
A $50 billion economy.
In how many?
Yeah. No, I think we're talking about $100 billion economy.
$100 billion economy.
Yes. And that still remains our vision, that it is possible that Zimbabwe can be $100 billion economy. We have everything that can make
What
that
do you have that ZANU-PF doesn't have that makes you so sure that you will be able to deliver on that?
First of all, it is important that we must attract investment. Foreign investment must come here. And for that reason, the first thing that the MDC will do is to normalize relations with other countries. We are not going to, ZANU-PF says we look east. We as MDC, we must look everywhere. We must be friends of the world. We must be friends with America. We must be friends with Britain. We must be friends with Australia. We must be friends with the donor countries that add something to our economy and attract investment. We must have policy consistency. Now, you hear Chinamasa, when he was Minister of Finance, saying X. Joao, who was in charge of indigenization, etc., saying Y. Completely different. So we must have policy consistency. It is important. Why is it important? Because it makes somebody make their decision. An investor who wants to come into your country wants predictability, wants security of his investment. Not coming to invest in Zimbabwe and then Honorable Mukupe just comes and says, no, that factory is mine, and so on. We want to change that. But what is most important is we must change this whole indigenization law. It is not indigenization. It is Zanonization. It is people get things not because they are Zimbabweans, but because they are Zimbabweans who belong to ZANU-PF. Just like land. You will be surprised that I applied for land and up to now I have not been given. And yet I am indigenous in Nyanga. Actually, my grandfather was a chief and was a nationalist. And in the land of my birth, I am not given land. Not because I do not deserve it, but because I am Douglas Mwonzora, MDC. So this kind of black apartheid is what we are fighting against. So you will see that when we take over, one, we are trusted because we don't indicate left and turn right. Number two, we are friends of everyone. Number three, we will make Zimbabwe a safe destination of investment. Number four, it is important. Well, ZANU-PF says the economy is land and land is the economy. But if you ask economists, they'll tell you that that is meaningless. If the economy was land and land was the economy, Zimbabwe would be a bigger economy than Japan because it has more land. But you will see a country with less land having a bigger economy. So the economy is not land, and land is not the economy. So what we will do as the MDC is to emphasize on manufacturing. It is to emphasize on value addition. It is to emphasize on giving grants and giving incentives to our miners, our artisanal miners, our middle scale miners, and so on. It is also to securitize land and make farming a business and not subsistence. We have converted commercial farming into subsistence farming. So we will change that.
Mm-hmm. If we had more time, we'll go into that because that's an economic discussion. Manifesto in brief has given us the manifesto, what they intend to do. Comrade Mukupe, time has run out. You are running in Harare East. You will face primary elections, but why should people retain you in Harare East?
I would want to believe that like what we promised the people that we're going to do when we came into office, and mind you, it was a very short period. We've managed to attain that. And I think if you realize, before I came onto the scene, I was virtually an unknown entity. But like if you see the profile that we've managed to build, it speaks well about like the work that we've done on the ground. And I think, like I said, Zimbabwe is at an inflection point. We're grateful for the nationalists, what they have done and what they've been doing. But I think now is the time for even for us, the younger generation, to also be able to come in and also start rebuilding the country, because we can't continue having a situation where we're always looking at the nationalists to be always taking the country forward. But I guess that's where we're coming in, the technocrats who never went to war and who are here to just take the country forward.
If the alliance talks had been concluded, we would be talking about where you will be contesting. Yeah, do you have an inkling or an idea where you will be standing?
Well, I want a rematch in Nyanga, and I'm going to beat the guy systems down. There's no question about it. Come 2018, I will be a member of parliament. Yes. Definitely. If you don't see me, Honorable Mukupe, it's you who will not be there.
And the final message of peace as we register, peace for Zimbabweans, to do it in a peaceful manner?
Yes. We must always put love at the center of our relations. It's not that we like ZANU-PF less, or we like MDC less, or we like Ndonga less, but we like Zimbabwe more. We must always remember that we are one people. We are the same people. We are predominantly black people, and we are the indigenous people of this country. There is no need of shedding blood of kith and kin. So we appeal to peace. We appeal to our members in the MDC to resist the provocation that they are subjected to by ZANU-PF. And we also appeal to the police to make sure that there is no selective application of the law. We want to thank certain members within ZANU-PF who have been preaching peace as well. I know Honorable Fortune Chasi has been doing that, and I want to encourage everyone to do that. And I think the traditional leaders, Chief Charumbira, can find something more useful to do to preach peace in the communities.
Mm-hmm. Honorable Mukupe.
No, I think my appeal is really to the young voters, because I think what you've noticed is that like a lot of young people are not coming out to register to vote. And what I just want to tell the young people is that like if you don't vote, you've actually voted, because what you are saying is that you are okay with the status quo. You're okay with what's happening. You're okay with whoever is there. You're not really interested in anything changing or things going in the direction that you want them to go. So add your voice. I think for me, I've actually taken on the note that with all my future meetings, since we are not going to be having details of who has registered and who has not registered. If you've not registered, I'm not going to waste my time talking to you. I want to talk to people who have registered to vote and who are interested in the destiny of Zimbabwe.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming through to Late Night Politics. We value your support. By coming through, you also give our listeners a chance to know what really goes on in the political world. And tonight I had Harare East MP, Comrade Terence Mukupe, as well as former MDC-T MP for Nyanga North, who is currently the current Secretary General of the MDC-T, Comrade Douglas Mwonzora. We were discussing about voter registration, about leadership, providing leadership. We also veered into the territory of party manifestos, the economy. Everything is political. Thank you very much. My name is George Musumba. Catch me again next Monday for another edition. It's a good night.
You've been listening to Late Night Politics on Star FM, taking an in-depth look at the Zimbabwean political scene. Join us again next week, Monday, same time on Star FM. Tune in to Star FM every Monday night for Late Night Politics, brought to you by Star FM News and Current Affairs. From 11 p.m. till midnight for riveting, engaging political discussions. Meet Zimbabwe's political players as they square off live on Zimbabwe's leading radio station. Your Monday late nights will never be the same again. Late Night Politics on Star FM, leading the pack and sounding good all the time.